Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and today we have a very special guest for you as we are covering American Horror Story Asylum wrap-up. And please welcome the one, the only. We don't know how waiting rooms work. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Maybe.
Monica!
Yeah.
Oh no, she's
Oh
frozen.
no,
We
wait.
totally broke it.
We broke it. She muted herself and turned her video off because she didn't know how long we were going to be doing the introduction.
Okay, hi,
Welcome, Monica!
I'm here. I had it on the corner there. It said this video is in progress being recorded. I'm like, yeah, okay, like let me fucking talk. Yes, hi, I'm here. What the hell is up?
Yay! Welcome back.
It's
I was
exciting.
like, it's been what, like 200 episodes since you've been here.
So.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's nice. I
You
like
came back for a movie or something, didn't you? We've had you once.
I think
No?
not yet. No. This is my
No.
first back.
Well, I was also like mad at her for like 6 months after I fired her.
Yeah, it was
That's
very
true.
sad. But also now I'm back. Just a little surprise because once Mary Kate told me what you guys were doing, I was like, I want to come back. I need to come talk when you guys are talking about this because
Yeah.
this is gonna be an interesting episode, I feel like, because
It's gonna be wild.
this season is
I'm drinking old wine out of the bottle, so like that's where we're
After
at.
5 minutes ago, she said she wasn't gonna do that. So
No. I said I wasn't going to drink the whole thing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I misunderstood.
I mean, if you wanted to drink the whole thing, what's one bottle of wine gonna do?
We'll see.
find out.
Stay tuned for last week's Stargate. Let us know how it went.
Really.
That's the order. Anyways, welcome. How are you? How have you been?
I've been doing pretty good. Things have been crazy in my life. Just like my amazing cousin Mary Catherine, got, engaged. So did I. And you know what?
Congrats.
Even though she technically is getting married in 2025, I don't mind sharing a wedding year with you. It's okay. I mean, it beats out getting married this year with all of your other siblings on top.
True.
I said to someone, one of Dan's family members, I was like, I only have 4 weddings to go to between now and my wedding. I'm in 2 of them and I'm planning one of them. So like, it's fine.
Yeah, listen, I just gotta show up to like 2 weddings this year. It went from being like 5 down to 2, but I got rid of some people in my life, so now I don't have to go to
Nice.
a wedding. So like, this is really nice
Love.
for me.
Yeah. No, it's my sister, Dan's cousin, my brother, and then Brittany, who I'm the maid of honor in that one, so I kind of can't miss that one.
Yeah.
So
I don't
So
have
it's
any
fine.
this year, I don't think. I have married all of my friends away.
yeah, all your friends are
I've gotten rid
married.
of all of them.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Except for what, like
So-
me and Noelle?
Yeah.
Right now,
So-
that's the thing is like now I'm in that time where like now everyone in my life wants to get married that I'm close with, and I'm like, but the thing is, I'm like the first out of it, so I'm like, cool, great. I don't mind being the first one to do it because then I feel like I could be more readily available. And like my friend
Mhm.
Danielle was like, because it's me, my friend Danielle, and Brianna, like that's our little trio.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want both you to be my maid of honor, but there's like no way I can do that. I said, no, because when you get married, I'll be married, so I can be your matron of honor.
Yeah, that's what Brittany's doing. Meg is her matron of honor and I'm her maid of honor so that she doesn't have to split it.
Yeah, and that's what I told her. She goes, perfect, thank you. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Love
look
it.
at how it works out. I'm like, it's
Technically-
great.
Making things easy.
Yeah, technically Brittany is already married, so I could make her my matron of honor, but then that would be confusing because I already kind of have co-maid of honors. So like I can't do that's 3. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
You're doing the most.
I'm doing the most.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, I also have 8 people in my bridesmaids, and then we have 8 groomsmen, and we have a 16-person wedding party.
No, you have an 18-person wedding party because you're doing
Oh.
the same thing that most people do and you're not counting yourself, you dummy.
Yeah, just JKA, 18-person wedding party. So it's gonna be
I was going to say, no, because I have a 16-person wedding party.
yeah, because you're down one on each side. You're 7 and
Yeah.
7, right?
Yeah.
So, but I feel like you go big or go home. Go for it.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to go
Speaking of
home.
going big or going home, I have some very exciting news to share with you guys. That
I've been talking to you for
no,
like 2 hours. You haven't told
I
me
know,
this, whatever you
I
said.
know. Yeah, because I wanted to save it for this because I want the first time I say it out loud to be on recording so that there is no backing out of it.
Oh God.
Dan and I are starting a podcast.
Oh my God.
And it was his idea.
That is
Bravo, Dan.
what congrats, but what?
We are going to do a podcast about the West Wing, which
I need to watch that, so I'll listen to your podcast, I guess.
yeah. It's on HBO Max right now. But we're gonna do a podcast about the West Wing, and it's gonna be a lot about like the history and the politics part of it, which is like his jam,
Mhm.
and then obviously like the TV part of it is mine. But yeah, he asked if we could do it, and I was like,
Great.
yes.
We'll advertise on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds exciting. But
Yeah.
Mary Kate,
So sorry, this cat just leaked.
Mary Kate, I love you so much, but I am
Yeah.
so terrified for you because
Yeah.
I feel like you never have a second to like take a piss.
That's true. That's true. That's
In
what my mom
between
said.
episodes.
I texted my mom. Yeah, wait, that's when I pee is between recordings. I texted my mom and I texted my family group chat and I was like, Dan and I are gonna do a West Wing podcast. And my mom goes, that's so exciting. Do you have time for that? And I was like, no, I don't.
Wait,
But
what
like,
day are you gonna release?
I don't know. So we're probably not going to do it for a little bit. We're probably going to do a bunch of
Okay.
bulk recording in the summer when we have a little bit more time and do like a bunch, like take like one day a week and do like 3 or 4 episodes at a time. So
Mhm.
we bulk record so that we're like super ahead because the show is old enough and like the history parts of it, like it's not a show that we have to like be super current on.
Right,
And
right.
it's not like he's going to be doing any of the social media parts of it because we all know his social media skills are it took him like a couple months to figure out that he could send me Instagram reels on Instagram, not through text message. So like he will not be handling any social media parts of a podcast. So it will do a lot of just like we'll take a day and do like 6 episodes in a day and just that will be our whole day is recording shit.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I thought about starting a solo one.
Oh, really?
You already have this one and
I have
Unseen
so many.
Artist.
I have so many podcasts. It's just because I'm panicking. I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Right.
So
Because I don't know if me and Cody were to ever start a podcast, what it would be about. It
Well,
would,
that's the thing is I just want to podcast all the time. Like I want my entire life to be podcasting. I would like to quit my job and be a podcaster. I don't make any money, so I can't. So like if you'd like to give us money, please do that. But also
yes.
But also like Dan is so shy and like he watches every episode of Stargate and American Horror Story, much to his chagrin, with me. Half of my commentary on the podcast is actually what he has said to me. I have asked him to record with me and Courtney, and he won't. So when he's like, no, he like is so uncomfortable and awkward. So when he suggested that this was something he would be interested in doing, I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, because like I feel like I'd just be like, if it was me and Cody, it'd just be a microphone in a room. And
well, that's the thing is, I don't think I'm going to do a video version for that.
Yeah, I think that might be what makes him probably a little nervous to do it with you and Courtney because he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to look good, I'm gonna have to feel good and be on camera. Versus like if it's just him like speaking, I feel like he can be a little more comfortable. I mean, everything's a lot more comfortable when you don't have to like present yourself well and just over the phone. Hey,
or when you just don't give a single fuck.
That too. Yeah. That too. That's very fair. I mean, if you look at any of the old videos on the podcast when me and Mary Kate were doing them, I clearly didn't give a shit.
I rewatched an early episode of the podcast recently and just said, God, I looked good when there was sunshine in my life. Why the fuck is it so dark here?
Hey, we're finally getting to the point where I'm not like uber depressed because the sun sets at 8:30
Nice.
now.
Yeah,
So we're
so
making
that's true.
progress.
Yeah.
I
But
hate the sun, so
She
yeah,
does.
not a fan.
no, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. I mean, that's my thing is like I'm either like, ew, sun, bleh, or I'm like, I want to breathe the sun. I want to breathe it in.
Jesus. Sorry.
That dog is on crack.
Yes, yes. He is. I'm so sorry. He's done for now.
It's okay. All
But
dogs
yeah.
have tantrums.
It's not mine.
So that's
Oh.
my weekly check-in for everyone is that I'm
Wow.
gonna start a new podcast. When I have more information, I'll tell you. But as of right now, I don't have
Excellent. I
any.
can't wait. I want to advertise us on there. I want to be a guest. You and Dan can make an advertisement to place in our podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm planning. I'm marketing. This is what happens. I quit my job. I'm moving multiple states, and so I've just turned my panic into productivity.
It's our new
And so
it's our new motto.
you do not want to work with me right now
No.
because I am chaos. Like
Mhm.
I am just constantly going. Like there's no break for me. All of my clients are like, I'm like, I've planned an entire tour for one of my clients for the entire year. And she's like, yeah, we should have a meeting and talk about this. And I was like, no, this is great. We're gonna do this. And I'm like, we're going to
If
Nashville in 3 weeks. I've got us a room. Like we're gonna. She's like, oh, okay.
if you could turn that productivity panic into both you and I getting jobs, that would be so great.
Sure. So I'm less interested in that. I have applied to multiple jobs and I do have
That's
a
good.
list of 3 more to apply to this week. But like, I'm just gonna live
Yeah.
a nomadic, chaotic lifestyle for a bit
Yeah.
and see how it goes. So I will be traveling a lot over the next few months.
Which is only
Not
really
June.
great for my schedule.
Yeah. You're gonna love it. You can't wait. You can't
And
wait.
I will say, like obviously, like I said, it's been a minute since I've been back. Since I've done last time was COVID world. I had no job. I'm doing
Yeah.
shit. And now I'm a licensed hairdresser.
Oh my God, you're the most stable of us.
It's
Which
true.
is but the thing is mentally I don't quite know if I feel like mentally
That
I'm with you guys.
no, yeah, no. Mentally, you're still you,
Yeah.
But
But
can
like
you imagine how
like
much we
Right.
flipped?
what was
right?
that?
So can you imagine how much we flipped last time we were all here? Like me and Mary Kate were both like super stable in our jobs, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm going to school, I'm gonna figure it out. And now we're just like, we don't know what's happening.
I mean, to be fair,
I'm licensed and doing all this stuff. Like
to be fair, I do currently have a job that I really like that I'm working well at, and I am going to school to further my career. I am currently stable. It's just that, like, come July 1st, I'm no longer sure.
Yeah. Which is fair. Like cuz that's so like that is scary. And like for me with like my which I feel like being like I was like what 20 when we were doing the podcast the first time, like 19.
Well, it was 4
baby.
I
years
was 19, I
ago.
hadn't even turned I haven't turned 20 at that point. And I was like, fuck it. I got my whole life to but like even within like the past 4 years, I'm like, fuck. Like, damn, life fucking sucks. And it's a lot. And I'm like, I'm trying to hustle and
Out.
But you're killing it. You are
I
all of your hair looks nice. I see it all over the social media.
thank you.
And I wish I
will
lived
say,
closer.
well, when you come up for like Mary Kate's wedding, if you want, like if you're coming up for like a little bit beforehand and you want to like pop in some highlights or do like a little touch up or like do a little
Maybe.
color, you're more than welcome to. But yeah,
Ooh.
I think
I'll
that
let
was
you know. I might move up there. We'll see.
Yeah. I keep telling her to move here, so
when Mary Kate told me that you were thinking about just like fuck it, I'm leaving my job, I was like, can she move here? I was like, can Courtney move
That's
up
what her
here?
mom said. She was like, she can live with us.
She was
So-
like, it probably make life so much easier for you guys for podcasting because you could do it in the same room together and like all that fun stuff. And she was like, I'm trying to convince her to do it. She goes, I've been working on this for years at this point. I said,
I
well,
will say,
time.
the one time we did do the podcast in the same room, we did a terrible job.
it's true. We were
Like,
chaotic
we
and
cannot do it in the same
unorganized.
room.
No, her and I can't function. It's
And it was
actually
not
true.
good.
Like
And
when
sound was
Monica
bad,
when Monica and
visuals.
I record when Monica and I recorded in the same room, The only problem was that the camera we were using at the time only recorded for like 20 minutes at a time. So then we like would have to like cut it in segments. And so it was difficult that way. But that was like a technology issue. We were like able to stay on track.
Yeah.
Courtney and I couldn't function. And part of that was because it was a very chaotic weekend.
Yeah.
And part of it was just that we could not function.
And we were trying to do Facebook Live for people who'd never done Facebook Live, and we're trying to like spin a wheel to like pick our neck. Like it was, my gosh, it was chaos.
Yeah. So we would need
it's on YouTube if you need to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the one. I didn't see the Facebook Live, but if it's on YouTube, I will be.
Yeah.
It's from 2 years ago when we decided to do Stargate and Bates.
Yes, I think it was Bates, because that's when Mary Kate was like, "Have you seen Bates Hotel yet?" And I was like, "No." And she goes, "Well, we're doing it for the podcast." And said, "That is so exciting for you."
Yes, that is when that was.
Because I'm like, I told Mary Kate why I literally watched the first episode and I went, "I can't watch this show."
Yeah,
And,
it's rough. Yeah,
and-
the first episode was definitely the worst.
And we've talked about this on the podcast too, and I've talked about your reaction to that on the podcast as well. But the first episode is, in terms of that aspect, it does get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've heard. So I was like, okay, I might give it another shot, just not watch the first episode again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I might give it a shot. But I mean, like, to be fair, we also did talk about stuff justice, not as intense as that. But
yeah, because I was gonna say I just listened to, because Monica, you don't know this, I've been listening to old podcasts of other shows that have talked about Hemlock Grove, and I just listened to an episode about the episode where Roman rapes Ashley. It's not quite Norma's scene in episode 1 of Bates Motel, but it's not great either.
No, it's not. It was, and then like, because like I love Bill Skarsgård, so but I was like, ooh, yikes, that icky. So I like, obviously,
I mean,
first season of American Horror Story had some of that.
I was gonna say this season of American Horror Story had that in it.
Yeah,
very specifically this one. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my! So because okay, context for everyone listening or watching. When I was talking to Mary Kate and Courtney before we started recording, I was like, to be honest, I was trying to watch as much of it as I could this upcoming week because I couldn't remember exactly what day we were planning it. We figured out what day it was. I was like, okay, so I'm trying to like watch as much of the show as I can. And so there are like bits and pieces of it that I'm like, every little detail I can't remember. But like obviously the big stuff, the important things, the messed up stuff, it just is like starting to click in my brain again. And I'm like, I'm like this. And this is why I love this season. Because it is just a clusterfuck of let's just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. That is truly what this season is.
For our tried and true listeners who have been around for a while, you know that that's exactly why I don't like this season at fucking all. I hate this season.
It's not my fave.
And here's the thing. This season is very much you either love it or you hate it.
That's what I've heard. Everyone I know loved this season except for me and Courtney. Courtney doesn't hate it. She just doesn't love it.
I don't hate it. I just don't love it. Yeah.
But like all of my friends are like, oh, that season's the best one. And I was like, to be fair, I've seen 2, but of the 2 is not the one I like.
Yes. And I will say, I think, and this is why I believe, like, with Murder House has been this whole series cash cow, because when you get further in, they go back to Murder House in certain seasons. In like the anthology series, they went back to Murder House and had 3 episodes dedicated to it out of an anthology series where each episode was supposed to be different. And that's why, and I told Mary Kate, I do love Murder House for what it is. But as you watch other seasons, you'll see how different the stories are,
it develops.
Some are more interesting than others, and I just obliterated watching Murder House because I was like, Tate Langdon, I love him so much, like when I was a child. So I was very much like rewatching just that one season, to the point that I was like, I still love it, but I'm like, I've watched it too much that I'm like, I could close my eyes and give you a perfect front to back recap of the whole series in 1 second. So, but with the other
Mhm.
ones, I'm like, I watch and I feel surprised again. I'm like, oh, I forgot that happens. Oh, that's messed up. So that's why I think I like the other seasons a little bit more. But I
Right.
still do really love Murder House. It has nothing to do with it being a
Yeah,
bad season. It's just because I
Yeah.
hyperfixate.
Yeah.
totally
Well,
fair.
before we get too deep into this, let's let Courtney, she's got a plan for how we're going to
I have
address this
so many things
season.
for us. So, as you know, if you watched the season with us, there were three main storylines that really were focused on throughout the season. And so I just want to get like both of your like feel on what they did right, what they did wrong, and
Sure.
then I want to rank them.
Okay.
So you're not
Oh,
surprised.
I have a very clear answer.
Yes.
I
I know
feel
you
like we
do.
all are gonna feel like what's the least favorite part of this season.
If you guys don't have the same least favorite part as this, I don't know if we can continue recording.
Oh God. Now I'm scared.
I already know your lineup, even though you haven't told me. So one of the first stories is, of course, Bloody Face. It's kind of what starts it all. You know, it's based on like the Ed Gein aspects. We have through line from start to end, it's Bloody Face. Um, my opinion on that is that's probably the most thorough storyline of the season as well. Um, but what did you guys think? And was there anything like in particular that like stuck out at you or that surprised you that you didn't expect to happen in this particular storyline?
Um,
Uh,
you go
w-
ahead. Go
oh,
ahead.
okay.
Monica.
Okay, period. Thank you, Mary Kate. So with the Bloody Face storyline, I will agree. It is the most full-fleshed story through the whole series, like that whole season.
Mhm.
Um, the thing that I truly liked the twist. But the thing is, like, you knew coming straight out the gate that it wasn't Evan Peters. Like, we knew from that's how I took it. I was like, he didn't do it. When I first watched that season, I'm like, there's no way he did
Yeah.
that. So I you kind of were like it became like a Clue storyline, but a lot more fucked up in the sense of like a who done it. But when we got to, the kidnapping and the whole and then the baby thing, and then finding out that the when you go back in time that's Bloody Face's son. Like I liked those little twists and turns. I think it kept it entertaining. It didn't feel like flat. It didn't feel like, okay, it's the evil doctor, and then that's it. And then the whole ending thing where it goes to basically like a 60-minute special that she has.
Yeah.
Um and then her son's there and there's this confrontation and she kills him too. I'm like, what the it's just crazy from start to end where I feel like that is, like you said, the heart and soul of the season is that storyline because it's the most full fleshed out and I feel like has probably the most interesting aspects that I feel like make a good show. And that's how I felt about that storyline. I don't really have that many flaws with it. Um, I like as I said, I didn't even think that it could have been Thredson. I
Oh,
really
I
it's
did.
Yeah.
my thing is I also when I first watched the season, I was maybe 16. So I'm thinking in 16-year-old Monica's mind, when I go back and rewatch it, you can see the signs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, you
Well,
get
that's right.
twist.
The last time I saw you, the only thing I told you about how I was feeling about the show was how every week I would make a prediction, and then the next week my prediction would come true, and I was pissed because it was not good. One of the things that I said on the podcast was that that guy was fucked, and I was not
Mhm.
happy about Thredson. And then the next week was the reveal that he was actually bloody face, and I was like, why the fuck do I got to be right?
Every
But
time.
every time. But I agree with everything you guys are both saying about it being fleshed out. I think for me, the con for that is that Lana is not a likable character.
Fair.
Um, and I think that it's very, very hard to be fully invested in this overcoming fucked upness that she is kind of the central character for
Mhm.
a lot of
Yeah.
what's happening in the show, but specifically in this storyline you're supposed to be rooting for her to survive it and to get everyone out of it and to make the moves and do the things to condemn everyone who is a murderer, but she's a terrible person
Yeah.
and you don't like her. And for me that's a flaw because she doesn't have to be good, because there are other characters in the show that are not good people that you hello Oscar that are not good people that you still like root for them to succeed. And
Mhm.
for her, there were times where I was like, well, someone just kill her already. And so for me, that is why that story is harder for me, because I 100% agree. It was the most well done of the three storylines. It had the most bulk to it. It had the most consistent through line. But when you don't care if the hero survives, it's hard to like the story.
And
Yeah.
that's very fair. And I feel like with going off of like the whole like Lana, that her whole arc, I think it's trying to show she's like a ball busting like journalist. She wants to make a name for herself. And then you think that the experiences that happened to her while she's at Briarcliff will humble her. But then she takes it and then says, I learned nothing here. Bye. But honestly, I
Mhm.
think that's supposed to be the way that it is for her. I feel like she's supposed to be like, I've only cared about myself. I did what I had to do to survive because I only care about me. And I think
No,
that that's
and
very much for her. But I get what you're saying is like, you
yeah,
don't
and I get it. I
people to
totally
survive.
get it. Her character arc is not
Satisfying.
getting it. No, her character, but for her, the character arc isn't that she overcomes her own hubris. It's that she comes to grips with her own hubris, but then she doesn't overcome it. And for
Exactly.
me,
Yeah.
that is really frustrating because even in the last episode, she's like, I did all these things. Ambition was my only goal. I fucked up. I did wrong. I did blah, 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 blah. But then she does the same exact manipulation tactics
Mhm.
to Johnny that she did to Oliver in the first place.
Mhm.
And so it's like, and I felt like Courtney and I talked about last week, I felt that she may have actually meant the things she said about like knowing she could never have cared for him, but she doesn't say it because she's sorry. She says it to kill him. And that for
Yeah.
me, so for
Yeah.
me, while I agree that story wise it is the strongest, it wasn't my favorite because I didn't care.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, and I think
that's
they could have easily like focused the story on Kit more. Just because like that was where you cared about what happened to Bloody Face
mhm.
because you knew that Kit wasn't responsible and you knew that he was going to die if Bloody Face didn't get caught. So like we talked about in previous episodes that like we just thought like Lana was gonna die, like he was gonna kill her, it's fine, she was gone, that wasn't a problem for anyone. Like,
Yeah.
but every second we were like, God, I hope that tape doesn't end up in the wrong hands. God, I hope that like Kit gets out. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's got so many things he needs to do and he's not responsible. And like that was such a more like driving emotional force that like
Mhm.
did follow through, but not in the same way. It was really pushed by Lana and you don't care about her as much as you do about Kit.
Absolutely. What that is like probably the best way to put that because Kit and the thing with Kit, which obviously can like start going towards the other ones, I
Mhm.
because I associate Kit has two storylines
Yep.
Yeah.
clearly. So I feel like a lot of my things I'm gonna probably geared towards more Kit are gonna be when we talk about I feel like the most inevitable storyline. Um, so I'm gonna say because I feel like that's the
Yeah.
only like good thing. So I'm gonna save my opinions for Kit when we get
Okay.
to that aspect because that's a
Yes.
whole can of fucking worms. Whole can
Well,
of
let's
worms.
move on to the second. Let's talk about Briarcliff in general as a storyline.
Mhm.
It obviously has been based off of a couple of different homes that have been shut down too late, but have exposés and different stuff. And so, we've all heard the stories of the mental institutes that didn't go well. So what did you think about the way that they handled this storyline?
I have one major issue with the Briarcliff storyline, and it is it's probably we're all aware that the Briarcliff part is going to be my favorite at this point of the way I've talked about the other things. I love the Briarcliff storyline. I love the idea of this fucked up asylum. I have obviously in everything that we did with The Exorcist and everything that we've been doing for about like, I
Mhm.
don't know, 6 months on the podcast, I've been getting very into like the Catholic Church and the way organizations have been run. Y'all already know how I feel about everything about that at this point. My problem with this Briarcliff storyline was the exorcism section
Yeah.
because I think that the Dr. Arden in particular, his story is fascinating. The journey that he goes on, which I was really glad that sister fucking nut job died. But I was mad that meant Arden's story ended when it did, because I thought there was so much more that we could have seen with that. The idea of like the shit that's going on in there and everything with what's her name? Who's the sex
Sister
addict?
Mary.
Sister
Oh,
Jude.
Shelley.
Shelley.
Oh, Kelly.
Everything with Shelley and everything with Dr. Arden and the whole Anne Frank storyline and all of the like, there was so much to it that they could have honestly taken both the bloody face and the alien stuff out of it and just done these stories and still filled up 13 episodes like solidly. And I think that because it's such a broad topic, there was so much you could have done with it, and the stuff that they did do with it was really, really good. I just think that trying to merge the alien and the exorcism into it muddied it.
So I will say, Mary Kate, I can almost guarantee you I agree with you 100%. My favorite part about the Briarcliff story, where I feel like Mary Kate's like fascinated with Dr. Arden, which Dr. Arden's character itself is a whole fucking clusterfuck of he's a terrible person. What
If
the
you're
fuck?
gonna say your favorite part of it is Sister Jude's story, I specifically left that out because I will cry if I talk about her.
Yes. Sister Jude's storyline, it is like her character, because of how they wrapped everything up, was one
Yeah.
of my favorites at the very end. To see how brutal and awful she is in the beginning, to how she acts with Kit's kids.
I know.
That whole episode where it's like Kit and Lana talking about what happened to Jude and all this stuff.
See, but
And
I felt that way about Jude before we see her like have a redemption.
Yeah.
I felt that way about Jude from the first time that we see that
The
she
her
became a nun.
Flashback.
The first time that we see that she became a nun because
What
of
she did.
the abuse and what the trauma in her past, I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
get it.
And that's why and it made so much sense with like Sister Jude's storyline is as a character. She has one of the like we were talking about full flesh like storylines. She has the most full flesh character.
Her arc is
For sure.
yeah.
It is, you see every emotion come out of this woman. And honestly, when she's, a little
And part of it's because Jessica Lange just fucking
fantastic.
destroyed this.
So incredible.
She is
Yeah.
Mary Kate, I could almost bet my
Oh no,
bottom
I know.
you will
No,
love
Jessica.
everyone she does.
Oh, absolutely. No. She's just a stunning actress.
Yeah.
Period. And she can do anything. But so she took a season that was mediocre and made the most
impact.
No, and not even impact. I genuinely think that Sister Jude is one of the most truly interesting characters in any show I've ever seen.
So
Absolutely.
it's fun that you say that, because Ryan Murphy fell so in love with Jessica Lange before this that he very specifically said for the season he wanted it to be like the Jessica Lange show. And so while all these other things were happening, he made her be the main character regardless of what else was going on.
Yeah.
And
they really
for
did.
his flaws and whatnot, he nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think like with the Briarcliff storyline, once again, Briarcliff itself was the center, like the hub for where everything that was fucked up conglomerately got together with all the fucking storylines. Everything was just happening in this fucked up place. But then within the walls of Briarcliff, you're dealing with Shelley, you're dealing with Kit, you're dealing with Lana, you're dealing with that one. What was her name? Grace. You're dealing with Grace. And what happened to her, and which that's a whole fucking crazy thing, which then bleeds into other storylines. So, like everything's just like kind of combusting at the seams inside Briarcliff, but the scenes that take place in Briarcliff are the best parts of the show when they are solely based about what's going on in Briarcliff with Sister Mary Eunice. She has like her story. She was like the sweet innocent girl and loved Sister Jude and did everything right, and then she's wearing red and being a little demon slut. The
scene that I think is Lily Rabe's finest moment in this entire season is the first time post possession that she breaks out, the scene with her and Death, and she's crying about how she doesn't want to fight anymore. That is one of the most beautiful acting moments I've ever seen. Like Lily Rabe did phenomenal.
And
And that's the thing. A lot of these people, it's not it's not the acting, it's not the actors. It's I feel that there's issues with the story because I feel like a lot of American Horror Story is shock value for shock value's sake. And I think that sometimes when you're trying to be shocking, it backfires. Like think about, while I know you don't feel this way because you love him, Courtney, think about how most people feel about M. Night Shyamalan post Sixth Sense.
Oh, right.
Once you've done something big and shocking, it is hard it's hard to stay that. I remember how I felt in Murder House, finding out that Tice's character, not even Tate stuff broke my heart, but finding out that Tice's character was dead, that moment, I will never forget how fucking flabbergasted I was watching that. 0% of the season made me feel that way. And it's not because they weren't trying. They tried to be shocking and it didn't work the same way. And that's what I think my problem with this season was. It wasn't even the stories or the characters, the acting, the directing, none of it. It was the attempt to recreate a mental phenomenon that they couldn't recreate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that after, once you guys, obviously Courtney will understand this, but like once you watch further into the series, they kind of gear away from being like, ooh, shocking and whatever, and they become more like Coven. Like this will be my little tidbit mostly for Mary Kate for Coven. It's basically what the fuck witches want to do in New Orleans. That is, and then there's just beef between voodoo and witches. That is it. And it's just fun. It like that season, I do have my gripes with it, but it's one of my
not all
favorite
fun. There's some tortury things.
Oh, there are definitely.
I mean, I don't know anything. I don't know a ton about the American Horror Story in the future seasons. Coven is the one that I know the most about coming up. But I will say in general, I also know a fuck ton about New Orleans. So fun, probably not the best word to describe.
Just wanted to make that clear.
Anything that involves the LaLaurie Mansion, I wouldn't consider fun.
That part, not really fun. But
cool, as long as we're all on the same page on that.
That's not fun. But I will say Kathy Bates does a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. But I like the biggest thing that I like, the reason why I call it like probably like I guess want to say fun, if I that's definitely not the right, but it's very not trying to be, twist here, crazy here. Like they're not trying to awe you. They're just like, look at all this already fucked up shit that's happened. Now let's throw some mystical shit on top of it. Like they're not trying to like reset. Like I think that they realized that with this season, that it was like, okay, it didn't land like last season, so let's try again. let's just have a fun story.
And then they tried again for Freak Show, and it really didn't work for them.
See, for Freak, when you at Freak Show, I fucking
we'll
love
get there.
Oh no, I know. I just know a lot of people were really into American Horror Story until Freak Show, and then they were like, maybe not.
See, it's a wild change from everything else. Yeah,
it really is. And then I will say, because I know, like, then I think that they realized once again with Freak Show, they went, oh shit, let's flip it again. And then with Hotel, it is, and this is my biggest PSA I can give you for Hotel. It is shocking for shock value. There are like the first episode, and Courtney knows exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm not gonna say it now. But that first episode, you're like, what? Not even the first, it's like the first 5 minutes before the actual fucking credits happen. You're like, what the fuck am I watching? But then there are some characters that you fall in love with, and you cry for these characters, and like that is when I know Mary Kate will love the characters in, because they're all fully like fleshed out. Like, except for one storyline I don't think she's gonna like, but which I do is like by Courtney's face, me and her are thinking the exact same thing right now. But that is one that I will come back to talk on because that's one that has the most interesting stuff, I believe, to talk
It
about.
does, yeah.
So
It does.
my true crime.
Yeah.
Speaking of characters who
So-
are fully fleshed out, but their storylines are garbage.
Hold on. So we're with Briarcliff still.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
Bringing it back. But yeah, so I agree with what you guys said. I did want to make one note about like Arden. I think that they tried to make the characters end in different points in their like storylines. So like with Sister Mary Eunice, it was the perfect time for her to go. Like even you were saying before, you're like, I'm sick of her. We can't do the storyline forever. And then the next episode she
many
died, and you're like,
times.
oh my God, what did I do? Like it was, and then you have like, you know, Arden who dies a little bit suddenly, but that also has a lot to do with like I think James Cromwell as an actor. Like I feel like that's his MO in other things I've seen him in. He's that like very stoic, very like
I will
fades away
say
character.
that probably was the closest to true
Way he
shock.
would go.
But for me, the closest moment to actually being shocked by this season was when Arden climbed on top of her and climbed into the fire. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
And it makes so much sense for his character because he
Oh
loved
no,
pure innocence.
it
It's
did.
like-
It did
and it
make sense.
made sense.
I didn't hate it at all, except for that I really wanted more of his character because his character was so good at being truly despicable with very little redeeming quality. And then he started to have moments where you sympathized.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And
as much as you can with a Nazi.
As much as you can with a Nazi who enjoys experimenting on humans and laughing at them as they die. Right. You started to see how much of it came from a place of true like internal agony. And then as soon as that lid opened, he had to die. No, you wanted more, but he had to die because he couldn't open the lid more. And so all of it made sense. I just didn't like it because I wanted more.
No, I think this won't be the last time that you will hear of Arden in American Horror.
I'm sure.
So like it's like a tiny, I think it's only happens once, I believe. But it does come back. It does come back.
You get a brief interlude. Yeah, but I think all of these, like specifically with Briarcliff, like separate from like Bloody Face and everything, but those character storylines really ended well for how much that I feel like this show lacked in some of their plots and some of their follow through and some of their like cohesiveness. I feel like a lot of the endings were done pretty well.
Very well. Yeah.
Which I really liked. And so to get to the third part, let's talk about aliens.
What about death and aliens? Because that happens in the storyline.
Well, we started with death, so now we're going to aliens.
I was just about to say, you all very, very rarely ever hear me say anything negative about aliens. That's kind of my thing. I only have tattoos of aliens. Like it's my thing. Fuck this show.
Yes.
There was nothing consistent, nothing interesting. They were like, flashing lights, aliens, don't talk about it again for 6 episodes until it's convenient because we need a reason to make this happen again. It was done so badly, so unfleshed out. It took the most sympathetic character Evan Peters will ever play on American Horror Story and fucked him because his story didn't make sense. The only number one good moment with the aliens at all was the cinematography and editing of the scene where Arden sees the aliens and then Pepper reappears. And I talked about that for like 10 minutes, so I'm not going to go on about it again. But that moment, I was like, yes. And then guess what? They didn't talk about the aliens again for another 2 fucking episodes.
Yeah. The aliens. So these are where I'm gonna put my thoughts about Kit, his character arc, because he is the only character that deals with all 3 of these. So his character not only is dealing with possible convicted murderer, fucked up asylum, let's throw fucking aliens that took your wife on top of it. And
Only they didn't take your wife, they gave it back. Just wait until you married somebody else. The fuck?
Exactly. And they were like, okay, so we're gonna start the season off with the alien thing. That's what we're thinking. Even though our advertisement for the whole season on FX was all about this fucked up fucking insane asylum, let's do aliens. First 10 minutes of the episode. But fuck it. Go for it. What the fuck? So right there, already you're like, what? Okay, there's aliens in this. And for myself, I am the opposite of Mary Kate. I am not a huge sci-fi girly. That's why I'm the death side of the aliens. So I'm like, I don't really care for sci-fi. I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong, don't hate it. But it's not what I gravitate to. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. And then you have the whole with Evan, this poor fucking kid with all this trauma this kid has, marrying a black woman in the South. They have to hide their marriage. Then he has.
They're not in the South.
No, they're not.
No, they're not in the South. They're just pre-Loving v. Virginia, so it's still illegal.
That's right.
They're just in 1963.
Virginia. Yeah, there we go. So can't get married to his wife, but they got married. Wife disappears. He gets convicted of murder, deals with everything there, comes back, married to another girl who was, committed for killing her
axe murderer.
Yeah. And then she was like, we're gonna get married. Then
also he fucked her once on a pile of bread, and then she was 8 months pregnant the next day.
Precisely, because I guess there's just something real special about jizz. That's what I'm sorry. That whole storyline, this is my biggest thing is what I hate about the storyline. What the fuck did they want with Kit? What the fuck did they want?
That's the thing is
we don't know.
The story doesn't make sense. We never got an answer. We didn't even get a question to get an answer.
Right.
Exactly. It was just happening. And you're like, the only similarity is Kit fucked these two women. So maybe Kit part alien. Does he have alien DNA? Or is he just smart?
Is he alien sexual? Like, does he only find himself attracted to women who turn out to be fucking aliens? Like, well, I don't.
Like, I'm like, are the girls he may happen to fucked be aliens? But then why did Kit get abducted when he's like dying of cancer? Like, what? Where the fuck?
I think
did this storyline come from?
Yeah, this is the biggest flaw of the season for sure, and it's the biggest flaw for how they handled Kit's character, because he, like we talked about, he's the most sympathetic one. And so instead of letting him be the sympathetic one, instead of following his storyline, they split him into 3 parts, which means you can't focus on any one section too long. You have too many questions because you don't know what's going on with the aliens. You don't really know, like you of course are concerned about Bloody Face, but then also he's also stuck in this asylum, and now his new wife, he's in so many places that it's so hard to keep up with his storyline that he doesn't get fleshed out enough.
He dies like 4 times.
Yeah. For sure.
And surprised, and my biggest thing with the only grace that I can give is that in the episode where Kit talks to Lana about, after, his wives are now dead because axe murderer, lived in a house, with children. So
but that problem is now both of his wives are axe murderers.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other one's locked up in Briarcliff. The other one's dead. And now you have this, whole thing going on. And
also, timeout. How come, plot hole that I just came up with, how come when Grace got shot, the aliens took her and saved her and brought her back? But when Alma hacked her to fucking bits with an axe, they just let her die. Was it because she wasn't pregnant anymore?
I think that's it. I think that's what I think it is. Because I think Kit has to fuck them, and they're like they're like
give Pepper her speech back.
Well, they had to give her a nurse.
Yeah.
What were they gonna? They were gonna give her to Dr. Arden. Grace had to have a caretaker.
And then you had, this is why I think the alien, obviously we know that the aliens have something to do with Kit himself, because they must be bloodhounds for his semen, because they must know when there's an ounce of it in a woman and go, she's pregnant, let's fucking go, boys. You can't tell me I'm wrong. It's immediately after he has sex with these women who are pregnant. I'm like, they're bloodhounds, dude. And that's like the biggest problem with the season. If the aliens were not in it, it would, I would say, be almost a near perfect season.
I think I would agree.
Even with the issues with the bloody face
Yeah.
thing, because of the fact that they picked made Lana's character the way that she was, I still would have. I think I would have loved this this series even season even more if it wasn't for the aliens. And then with all of that being said, is Courtney does know this, and you will get to this. Aliens do come back in the whole American Horror Story thing, and the fact, which that's my whole issues with that season. They had a perfect opportunity to maybe go into depth with these aliens, but instead they did a really weird fucking thing. Really weird fucking thing, which I'll say after we're done recording because
American Horror Story is not made for aliens. They
no, it's
are
not.
No,
Ryan Murphy
stick to
is good at
horror.
doing a lot of other stuff, but not
leave,
aliens. He is not for
leave.
aliens.
Also, sorry, is my microphone working?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My headphones are like not. I can't hear myself. I can hear
Yeah,
you
no,
guys, but I can't hear myself.
your mic
Oh,
is
good
your mic's
luck.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say leave the aliens to the professionals, but then I also was like, that reminds me, I want to ask Cody his thoughts because Doctor Who released their season episode titles and then directors and writers, and I'm very concerned.
Also, real quick, everyone, this is my fiance.
Hi, welcome.
So I haven't seen like what the list of episodes is going to be,
Yeah.
but I saw the trailer that they dropped
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
season 1, which that
I have so many issues
Oh.
with it being called season one. So
so do
many
I.
issues.
Like we had season 1 back in the day. Then when
Yeah.
it got when it got rebooted in what? 05?
Five. Yeah. It was a
05,
five.
season 1 with Chris. And then
Which
we
fine, there
had-
was like a 15-year gap between those
Yeah.
things. Call it season one again. Fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And now, literally right after it ends, what, 2 years later, we get 5 episodes, and then season 1 starts.
Yeah, and it makes
Just
no
continue
sense.
with season like 18 or whatever that
Yeah.
it's at. Do that. I don't know if it's because it's now on Disney, and Disney's like,
No, that's 100% what it is. It's because
Yeah,
it's on
for
Disney
sure.
and they want to advertise it to new viewers.
Yeah.
You haven't looked at the episode list yet. I would do that, but also just be aware, um, there are 4 directors for the new season, and only one of them has directed anything worth a shit.
I thought Muffet was back to
Oh
direct.
no, writer. No, he's writing. So Moffat and Davies write everything except for one episode, and both of the people who write together on that one episode have never written anything ever. So that's fun. And then all of the directors, one of them has only ever done comedies. 2 of them have done nothing that's past the indie level. So only one of them is a director that I trust.
See, I'm
Yeah,
only a
it's,
little upset because I'm not a huge Doctor Who person, but Cody has had me watch some. We've been watching some stuff.
Yeah.
So I watched all the specials because I
Yeah.
loved the Tenant. So we watched all the specials, and then we watched the Christmas special with Shooty, and which I do really like him as a doctor. I think he's gonna be a fun doctor,
Yeah.
and I loved his companion, and the fact that she only made it to the Christmas episode and isn't in this.
No.
No, she is. She's in.
Yes. Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be for like part of the season, and it's rumored that she's then going to be written out. But that was a month ago.
That
I
was
had to check who
there's
called
there's
her.
also only 8 episodes in the season, so
Okay. Okay.
So-
That was the only thing. Except I really liked her. She was fun.
Yeah,
She was
it was
funky.
it was rumored that they were going to write her out, I believe, at the end of this season and not continue her on. But I haven't seen any like theories about that in maybe like a month.
Yeah.
Which would suck because it seems like we have a start of a good backstory about a character, and I'm excited to see this because I do think that these two are going to be great, and I'm excited for Shooty to be the new Doctor, which his first introduction I thought was crazy. First time hearing about this. Obviously, probably some diehard, long time Who watchers were probably like, I don't like that, but I think it's an interesting
It's fun.
thing that they've done.
I liked it because David Tennant got to have a happy family. That's like I liked it, but I'm also not a long
I
time
am so
watcher.
far behind.
Yeah,
But
Courtney
Doctor Who.
hasn't watched enough to know what the fuck we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
But no,
So-
it was just yesterday they announced all the episode titles and the directors and writers, and I was at Easter with Dan and his brother, and I go, I can't watch it. This whole season's gonna be garbage.
I
Now-
really
So
hope
if you
not.
want to watch good aliens, don't watch American Horror Story.
Sorry.
Go watch Doctor Who.
And
Oh,
since,
God, yeah.
since Cody is here, and the last full season of American Horror Story we watched together was Asylum. Rank your favorite storylines. You got Bloody Face,
Yes.
Briarcliff, and the aliens. And if the alien one is anywhere not on the bottom, aka the last spot,
My favorite part was when Sister
Jude.
Jude, you guys mentioned this earlier,
Yeah.
had to be like the sweetest fucking thing ever. Like that was like the best part of the season.
Jessica Lange show.
Yep.
A lot. It's been a minute since we watched it, but I did really like that season. A lot of it, was a little weird, but again, it is American
It
Horror
was,
Story.
yeah. Oh God. Sorry.
So, but yeah, the Sister Jude, that was like my favorite part because it was just so sweet. Because like you have this,
Like brooding woman.
yeah, this woman finally like get cared for and like shown love, and like she's actually needed, and cared for. And what was his character?
Kit.
Kit. One awesome name. Great talking car as well, but that's a different show. I'm glad someone got my reference.
Yeah, of course Mary Kate would get it.
You got the Hoff and a talking car. What else could be better?
Oh God.
Than the reboot. But Kit and Jude, like that was just so sweet.
Yeah.
But like the weird thing about
The aliens.
his super sperm and
Super sperm.
all that stuff, like that was weird.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I thought it was an interesting take for what to do with
That's
that. Yeah.
I love my man is a man of very few words, but I thank you for giving your
Yes.
take.
I love it. All right, Mon, what's yours?
What's your rank?
So my ranking: Briarcliff, Bloody Face, Aliens. That's
That
kind of where I'm sitting.
That would
Yeah,
be
I think
mine
that's
as well.
the only proper one, but I could see Bloody Face being close just because it does have a good storyline too.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, they
I would
really
say
should
like
have scrapped it.
Briarcliff,
Bloody Face, Aliens.
Yes, correct,
Like,
correct.
there
Like
is a
I think it
big
would have been
difference.
totally fine if
Because
they
that's
like
like-
scrapped a lot of everything else and just did Briarcliff, like
Yeah.
said Mary Kate.
Because I just think like how you said it was perfect was, if simply the aliens weren't in it, I almost would have considered it, like I said, a perfect season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
The
so.
minor issues with the Bloody Face stuff, regardless of that, I could look past it because everything else enough was well written, and we
Mhm.
could have spent more time with Kit in the asylum
Mhm.
and really
Yeah.
sympathized there rather than with aliens, and we could have seen everything that happened with Sister Jude minus the aliens, so we still would have gotten all the good heartfelt moments because everything the aliens were involved in was fucking stupid. So it was fine.
Hi, Noelle.
Yeah,
They just needed a reason
she
to get
can't hear you.
Oh, no.
You're in my headphones.
They just needed a
But,
reason to get Grace pregnant quick. Hello.
They did, yeah.
They needed a reason to
Yeah.
get Grace pregnant quick and a reason for Alma to disappear to even get him to be convicted for a murder. That
Yeah.
was simply it. They just were like, how the fuck are we gonna get this set up? I got an idea.
So
They also needed Arden to have a come to Jesus moment, which they could have done a different
For
way.
sure. Yeah. So Monica, you've seen all the seasons, but the newest one, is that right?
Correct.
So where does this, without spoilers, where does this rank in your all seasons?
So if you don't mind, because I have given Mary Kate my entire season ranking. Could
Ooh,
I give you my entire season's rankings?
100%. That's all I want.
I think this is gonna be a shock to a lot of listeners and definitely to Mary Kate and you.
Well, not
Oh,
me because
God,
I've already
okay.
heard it,
Well,
but
not Mary
yes.
Kate, but it was a shock when I had told her, especially after
Yes.
seeing this season. But my number one is actually Asylum. I really no Coven. Coven's my number one. Sorry, Coven is my number one. Asylum is number two.
I knew it was gonna be high for you.
So
Yeah.
Asylum is number two. Um, then Hotel is number three.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Freak Show is number four.
Interesting. Okay.
Murder House is number five. And then actually the most recent season, not Delicate, NYC is number six. I
Okay.
loved that season. Then after that we have Apocalypse. No, Roanoke. Apocalypse. Then after Apocalypse, 1984. After 1984, I'm thinking there's only 2 seasons left after that, right?
Yeah.
Then after 1984 is Cult. Then down at the fucking bottom is Double Feature.
Double feature.
worst
Yeah, no, of course.
American Horror Story. I told Mary Kate when you guys get to season 10 or not, was that 9 or 10?
I think it's 10.
Don't watch it. Just skip it. No
We're
one
doing it. We're gonna hate watch it if we have to.
Yeah.
literally, I can promise you, no one's gonna want to fucking listen to it because everyone fucking hates it. It's like
It's
everyone collectively
so
said, "What
crazy.
the fuck was that? This sucked."
That
'Cause
is
they were trying to cope for COVID, and I thought when they said, "Ooh, double feature," we're getting 2 full-length seasons. They were 2
know.
5-episode seasons that rushed their endings, and it was and the first half I can give grace to. I liked the first half. Once
Yep.
again, American Horror Story and Aliens don't mix. So when they get to that part, which part cut out when you're like editing Mary Kate, because I can't not say this because Mary Kate doesn't blow your fucking mind. I don't care if this is a spoiler.
Don't spoil it.
Mary Kate,
We have to talk about it. She has to be surprised.
Mary Kate,
Yeah.
take your headphones off. Take your headphones off real quick.
And then she's gonna have to edit this. She's gonna hear it in the editing.
Oh, damn it! Fuck.
Text
Sorry.
me later.
I will literally after we're done recording, take your headphones off because I need to talk to Courtney about
Okay.
this. She will be the only
Excellent.
one that understands my anger about this fucking part.
I was that's fair. I was like, yeah, I'll just take my headphones off. I won't listen. And then Courtney was like, she's the one who edits this. I was like, just kidding. That's true. I am the one who edits it.
Yeah, so I was when you get there, you'll see Mary Kate. But Courtney, you will hear me talk about this after we're done recording because
I can't
I
wait.
need to talk to you about that. But that
We
is
have some differing views, but 100% double features the last one.
yes.
But
I know Murder
Asylum's
House
a little
being
low
that
down on my
low.
list too.
That
Murder House is
number 5.
low. I mean,
But
as of right now, I've only seen 2, but my ranking would be Murder House,
Murder House,
Asylum.
Asylum. Yeah.
And the only reason why, so I think of the first 5 seasons as Ryan Murphy's golden era of making American Horror Story. So those first 5, when I say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like they're like right on top of each other. Then New York
Yeah.
City came up pretty close underneath it. Then everything else was kind of like down here. So like there is still a gap, but the first 5 seasons I think of like the golden era of American Horror Story, and I think are like because 4 out of the 5 seasons have Jessica Lange in it, and a lot of people are
Yeah.
expecting the 5th season to not do well after she had left the show. But
Right.
I think that
But
with having Lady Gaga in it really helped put that focus because she's a very strong actress in that season. So she was playing a very Jessica Lange type role in that where you almost you notice she's not there, but not so much that it takes away from watching the show. So that's my best advice for giving that, and that's why I fucking love Hotel. That's another one of my favorites.
It's definitely a top for me as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you a couple of fun facts. This was supposed to actually be set in a prison, not a mental institute, but Alcatraz came out that year, and they were like, our storyline. I'm surprised that they still haven't gone back and done it though, because like they could easily do. I mean, make it a
A serial
haunted
killer.
season, like make ghosty serial killer. Yeah, like there's so many things you could do with a prison that would make it different from this.
Yeah. And like still do the whole like someone getting framed and put somewhere thing, but not have it be alien involved. It could be because of other reasons. And
But
like,
you could even do horror in a more And like obviously I'm coming from a point of not knowing what's up ahead, but like you could even do
Mhm.
horror in a more human sense of like mob bosses or like
Yep.
You
things
Gangs and
things that are much more human horror than supernatural horror. Because I think,
Mhm.
and we've talked about this on the podcast before, I think sometimes that people ignore the very human horrors and they're like, ghosts, monsters, scary. And I'm like, people are fucking way scarier than that.
and I will say there is a season of American Horror Story. It's not like necessarily mob boss, but it is human horror, but they give it a
Mhm.
supernatural presence. And
Yeah.
I think Courtney knows what season this is, but they give it a supernatural presence to have the conversation about the true horror about it.
Yeah.
Because once again, like I said, in nearly every single season of American Horror Story, no, in every single one, there is always true crime, whether it be true crime or
Yep.
historical aspects that are absolutely 100% accurate in how they depict them. And the way that that one season handled it, I thought that's why I liked it so much, was because of how things were handled. But I keep getting distracted because I love American Horror Story too much. So I do
I
apologize.
know. It's okay. We're
But
gonna come back
I
to
don't
it.
I don't think that it would I honestly like that we got the asylum, because even though a lot of people say it's a worn through trope and going, but they
Yeah.
made it interesting. They made it captivating to an extent. Like what was going on in the asylum at least was interesting.
Mhm.
Where I feel like it still could have been interesting in the Sunset Prison. And just sticking, like you said, if they just did the bloody face storyline, that could have been fine. And that's probably what would have happened. And I think that's why they have so many storylines, is because they
Probably so,
felt
yeah.
like their shit got jacked and said, oh, once again, throw it at the wall, see if it
That
sticks.
that also makes sense that Bloody Face is the most thorough storyline
Mhm.
because if they were planning a
They'd already started
prison, it's
writing it.
the only storyline that carries over.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yep. Another fun fact I have for you. So one thing that me and Mary Kay have talked about a lot is Tim Minear is a writer on a lot of these episodes, and there were a lot of the episodes we didn't love. He was a consulting producer on season 1, but he was actually promoted to executive producer for season 2. And I
There you
think
go.
that might have a lot to do with why we didn't love it as much too, because we were not a huge fan of a lot of the episodes he wrote.
Yeah.
Even though he is one of the more prominent writers, aside from obviously, Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. But so I
Yeah.
didn't realize that until I was going through all the notes. Grace was originally supposed to be like a fierce like sex pot is what they called her.
Okay.
And I'm glad they didn't do that because it would have had too
Yeah.
much overlap with Shelley, first of all, and it wouldn't have fit for like Kit's storyline.
Yeah, Kit would not have fallen for her if she was throwing herself at him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that, and I feel like that's maybe why Shelley ended up being the sex box. I think they wanted something like that. But because this is
Because
how I
apparently you
well,
can't do horror without sex.
Yeah.
oh,
Well, they also already had Shelley in the works. Like she wasn't
oh,
created
okay.
after. Like they were both created and then Grace was just changed later. Like her whole character
Okay.
was just changed later.
Okay, because that makes sense. That
Yeah.
that makes sense, because then that would be too much. Because once again,
Mhm.
Kit was, if you see how Alma is, and then you throw this quote unquote sex pot at him,
Yeah.
he's not gonna go for that. He's very much the tender, sweet little baby boy. Like he is very much a romantic human being. And for him,
For sure.
he's not, because Shelly already tried that and he said, nah, I'm good, home slice. Thanks though.
Mhm.
Like he
Yeah.
is, that's not the type of character that they were making him. So it would not, in his character sense, make sense for him to be attracted to it. No, I don't care how sex deprived that man was. He's way more traumatized than sex deprived. So having that be like, if they were to try to make that his motivator to like being with her, he's just horny and
Yeah.
locked up, would be so stupid for his character too. So I'm glad that that didn't stick, because that would have been very messy.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. Yeah. So also, Eric Stonestreet was also meant to be a guest star in this season, and then his character was just never fleshed out.
The worst. I
I know.
object.
I love Eric Stonestreet, but that was a terrible, terrible episode. And it was
And that's why I object. That's why I object, because I want Eric Coacher to play a good character, because Piggy Piggy is the worst fucking episode in the entire history of America.
so bad.
'Cause
That is
okay,
unfortunately
remind me-
not true, but
Remind me, who
He played the man who was in season 1 Murder House who was so upset, like, and went to the therapist and then
Yeah,
got
like,
murdered
urban
in his
legends and
bathroom.
stuff.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I just know him as the gay guy from Modern Family.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not actor's name person. I
Character
know you
person.
from something. But yes, dude, he was so funny in the first season. I loved his little cameo, and to be honest, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
It
that
was
episode was
awful.
awful.
It was a terrible episode. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, dude. I didn't mean to touch your feet. It was so terrible, but I thought it was funny, but I like
Yeah.
stupid shit like that. So
And also, last but not least, it was filmed in Old Orange County Courthouse. So I wonder if they had the location before they decided what they were going to film there.
oh, probably.
So they were like, we're in a prison. And they were like, oh, what are we going to do now that we're not doing a prison? Mental
Asylum.
institute.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I do have some reviews. There was a lot of people, actually quite a lot of people said that their second favorite episode was like Roanoke. There was so much crossover between Asylum and Roanoke, and I don't get it. I mean,
I don't
they're
either.
completely different episodes, and they're not even like the same style. I was going to ask you, do you feel that way?
Okay, the only reason why it is similar to Roanoke is because of the fact that now a character returns in Roanoke.
Right.
So I think that is why,
Maybe so.
because with Roanoke, it's all about different forms of TV media is like the overall
Yeah.
type of thing that they're trying to do and go with. But a character does return in Roanoke.
And you'll never know who it is, Mary
Huh?
Kate.
Sorry, I'm just trying to think of how that even works.
I know. Yeah,
And
it's
that's
wild.
why-
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It feels in the episode when that character returns, it feels it was kind of just slapped on at the end because
Yeah.
it happens at the end of the season.
Because there's like, so here's the thing. I understand that Pepper is also in Freak Show, but I also know that that's supposed to take place before Asylum.
Yes.
Mhm.
That makes sense to me. I understand that a lot of times characters overlap and in terms of being mentioned. Cool. Whatever. Not worried about that. Oh my God, now I can suddenly hear myself again. I don't know what's going on with my microphone. Anyway, what I don't, but there were a couple times while we were doing this podcast, that I literally said to Courtney, well, I know that that can't be true because that person would be dead by then, in terms of like the timelines, like when it was the past and the present and the future, like in this season. I don't know a lot about Roanoke, but I know it's supposed to take place in the colony of Roanoke, and that there's some shit from season 1 from Murder House that like mentions Roanoke that is like foreshadowing.
It's simply like it's
But
a
so
word.
no, I know it's just a word in Murder House, but like
Yeah.
I know Krakatoa comes back and that's the only fucking point of Roanoke, but they mention it being a word from Roanoke. These are facts I know. I don't know if you know, but I am pretty up on my historical information.
That's true.
And no one who was alive at the time of the Roanoke colonies could be alive in 1960s Boston unless you pulled some really fucking wild shit. And somehow I feel that I will hate it.
Yeah,
because of that fact.
You will.
I think I like you're definitely not gonna like it. And it's gonna
No
be
question.
that I know you're gonna text me after and go, what the fuck? What's that?
I don't
I
mind.
learned so many history facts though that season.
Yeah.
I don't mind supernatural shit, but when you set a precedent for things happening at a like only vaguely supernatural level, you can't just make someone be alive 400 years before the last time I saw them. Doesn't make sense.
That's
So,
fair.
But when that rears its ugly head, it will make sense for you.
Mhm.
But yeah, I can see why there is only also that one factor that would bring Roanoke and Asylum together. There's only one factor, and it's the one that me and Courtney mentioned. So for it to be mentioned as much and to be like such a fun fact, I'm like, yeah, we get it. They're the same person is in both seasons. Cool, great, gotcha. That happens in almost every American Horror Story season. There's always like a mention to a character from a previous season, or they're in it, or whatever the case may be. So for it to be like, oh,
Did they mention anything from Murder House and Asylum?
no.
Mm-mm.
I was gonna say they didn't.
They
And I
just have
also
Pepper
know
who
why.
comes back in Freak Show, and then they had the Supernatural, which was supposed to be the reference to Coven.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
and this is why I know why then this is kind of a little bit of a take backsies, but I also know why Mary Kate absolutely loved Murder House on top of all this is how much accurate true crime was involved with that
Yeah.
season. That's why I can almost bet my bottom dollar she'll love Coven, not Coven, she'll
For sure.
love Hotel just as
Hotel. Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
it's
I think
very much
so.
the same vein as you feel like you went back to doing like what Ryan Murphy did in season one. Like it's very reminiscent of that.
Yeah,
So
Very much.
but there's also a big crossover season that happens, which I won't give any of that away. Even though the whole marketing around it was about that. But after next
Yes.
season, we can then have a conversation about that. I'll just put it to you that way. But there is a huge like crossover season that happens, which everyone was so excited about. So then kind of fell on the ball.
I liked it better than I thought I would, though.
That is very true. It set you up to be kind of like this again, really? But then
I know.
you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't terrible. But there's a lot of people I know that did not like that season, and I have a feeling Mary Kate's gonna be one of them.
Probably.
be honest,
So
I hate everything. So
that's true.
fair.
So I do want to touch on a couple of the things that like what original stories were based on. So Briarcliff, as we mentioned, is based on Willowbrook State School. And not only did they have a lot of the similar abuse, but they also actually infected people with Hep A to red test on them. So it was the same type of style of what Dr. Arden was doing.
Mhm.
Sarah Paulson was following the same path as Geraldo Rivera, but she was actually based on Nellie Bly, who did the same
that makes
thing.
sense. Makes sense.
And then Ket and Alma were based on Betty and Barney Hill.
Yep.
And so which I totally forgot about, but it's the only thing that makes sense. So it's 100%.
Yeah.
Dr. Arden, which we've talked about, is based on Joseph Mangala, and Oliver was based off Ed Gein, of course.
With his lovely little skull mint holder. I want to buy one.
Completely unrelated to American Horror Story, but quick factoid that I learned on another podcast this week.
Mhm.
The author of the original novel of Psycho lived around the corner from Ed Gein and didn't know it
That's wild.
until after he wrote the book.
This can stay in or it can stay out because this is speaking next of talking and being in contact and near serial killers, but unfortunately knowing. With this is also quick tangent. I don't know if either of you have seen Quiet on Set yet.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
I watched it this week.
But I also haven't watched it in purposefully because I know that it will be triggering for me.
That's fair. The only thing this shouldn't be a triggering thing, but everyone's talking about obviously all the terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Why is no one out on TikTok talking about the fact that Brian Peck was pen pals with John Wayne Gacy and getting Wayne Gacy?
No, that
Forgot about
bothers
that.
me.
Wild.
And then showing it to children, specifically
I've seen tons of stuff on TikTok about that. So you're just not seeing the right TikTok.
It's been all about
I haven't seen it either.
You're just not seeing the right TikToks because I've seen people being like, what the fuck?
Because that man really
okay.
said, want to be my pen pal, serial killer?
Yeah.
You're so talented. What the fuck?
No,
What?
it's so wild.
I could go
So
on a whole
wild.
other tangent about that. I could go on. So I'm gonna reel it in.
We don't have the time
While
for that.
we're feeling emotional, while we're wrapping up this entire season, out of everyone that was on the 13 episodes,
Jen, before we punch people in the face, I have one question.
yes,
You promised me that at the end of the show, you would tell me what the fuck changed in the credits that I didn't catch.
I don't remember now. I don't remember what you call. I'm so sorry. We will run back through that another day off air.
Fine.
forgot what you told me. I will bring it back up. Actually, I think you ended up catching more of it because they did it in other like credits.
Oh, I
told you in the first
I just
couple of episodes,
and I
think
just
you
caught it
after.
later. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, time out. I'm confused.
So every week the credits change slightly.
Like the end
Yeah.
credits or the opening
the-
credits?
The opening credits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like asking me every week, did I catch anything changing? And I was like, no. But then later in the season, I ended up seeing old
I think
things.
you did end up catching it all by the end because a lot of it like back ended it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now, who would you want to punch in the face?
My number one punch in the face. I guess for the whole season, it would have to be Oliver.
That's fair. That's fair.
Can
Mine?
okay, so I have my real answer and I have my funny answer.
Okay.
I'll give you my real answer first. So, real answer, I'm gonna agree with Mary Kate is Oliver Thredson, obviously. Like the only one that it's like Two Fists, but it just hit Oliver a little bit quicker is Arden, just because he's a fucking awful person. But my funny answer, every alien that decided to show its fucking face on screen.
Fair. I'm gonna stay true to myself as I did the whole season, and I'm gonna pick Lana because I can't with her. I understand there are people that are worse. I'm fully aware, but
yeah,
I just really want to punch her in the face. Like,
Courtney,
no,
Courtney, I'm begging you for Halloween this year. You can come up and visit and hang out with me and Mary Kate if you're not living here by then, because that'd be really cool. And you could dress up as Lana Winters for Halloween.
I could do
and
it.
I'll dress up as an alien.
I love it.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll be Sister Jude.
I was gonna make a really fucked up joke, and I was gonna have Cody dress up as Kit because I'm a hound for
no, don't continue that sentence, dear Lord.
All right. So for all the positives that we're gonna end on, who is your MVP of this whole season?
Is that even a question? I think all of us feel the same way, that it's Sister Jude. That's how I feel.
See, but we can't pick the same people. That's the magic of this. So if you pick Sister Jude,
I didn't know that that was a thing.
that's a rule because you don't listen to the fucking podcast.
Dude,
Monica.
I listen hearing, dude. I have been listening through your American Horror Story. Listen through that. I have been doing.
If Monica picks Sister Jude, which would have been my first choice, I will pick Kit because that is the solid number 2.
Obvious second choice.
Yeah.
I hate everyone else.
Yeah.
Now I have to think a lot more because I would have picked those two as well.
Yeah.
You gotta pick the lesser of every evil.
I know.
I would say, like, if you're really going for a third pick, like, truthfully,
I think I'm gonna go probably I might go Alma. I know she wasn't there throughout the whole thing, but like
but she was never bad when she was there.
Yeah. That's
even
fair.
when she killed Grace, like it's for the best.
She did only kill Grace because Grace was actively trying to bring aliens back to their house.
Exactly. Yeah. She was trying to protect the children.
This was terrible for me. Please respect that. Go fuck yourself. You took my husband while I was, getting diddled by aliens. Can you fuck off now, dude? I'm back.
100%. 100%. So that is our episode, which means I'm going to tell you what our movie is going to be for. I keep calling it movie magic, and I don't know what it's called. I've forgotten.
I'm so nervous because you always pick movies that I fucking hate.
So I haven't seen this movie. I haven't seen this movie yet, but it ties in so well. So
Monica, just so you know, hold on, before she tells you this, after every season, when we finish a season, we watch a movie, and obviously we've watched a lot more horror movies because the horror shows tend to be shorter. And I was arguing with Courtney that I have hated every movie she's picked, and she goes, "No, you really liked that one movie that we watched with Matt Smith in the 60s." I go,
Taylor Joy,
and I go, "That's because I picked that one."
Yeah.
No,
so we're having a fun time.
Courtney, is this a movie that I would have probably have seen?
I don't know. It's new. It's newer.
It's newer. Oh,
okay. Like last 5 years. So we're gonna go with Escaping the Madhouse, the
I-
Nellie Bly story. And it's
I
on Hulu and
actually don't
Tubi.
think I will hate that. That actually sounds like one I will not hate.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to watch that because I want to see how accurate they depicted Lana's
I know.
story.
And we
Yeah.
will talk about that on the pod. So watch along and
Alright.
listen along. It's going to be a fun
Okay.
time. So that is what I have for you. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CE Cloud 13.
You can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar. And Monica, do you want to plug anything while you're here before we leave?
Yeah, sure. If you want to follow any of my social media, which is basically just my TikTok and my Facebook. Don't look at me on Facebook. If you want to just follow my Instagram and TikTok, it's just monica.lin_. And I have a beauty page for all my fun little hair stuff. So you want to go over and support that, or if you're in the local area of good old WNY and want to get your hair done by me, you can follow moon.lightbeauty_ on Instagram. And
Make it a little more difficult.
yeah, I know. I was trying to remember where the dot was in the name.
And I'm glad you remembered because I thought it was after Moonlight, so I would have fucked everybody up.
I had no idea what your handle is. I follow it. I like things. I
It's
had
a,
no
it's
idea
a
what the handle
long
was.
handle,
So.
and just regular old Moonlight Beauty was taken, and I'm like, whoever
Mhm.
had Moonlight Beauty first, I'm coming for you. Just kidding,
Sure.
no period, sis. But like that, that's what I got. I took what Instagram was gonna give me.
That is totally
I love
fair. Well,
All
thank
right.
you
Well,
so
thank
much for
you.
joining us today,
I had
Amon.
so
We're
much fun coming back and talking about it, and and honestly, for the ones I want to come back for are Hotel and Double Feature and NYC. Those are the three I'll come back
You let
for.
us know, and you are always welcome.
Those are the
Yes.
ones I have the most opinions about.
Great. Love it.
Perfect.
All right. Well, on that note, stay tuned for our next Sci-Fi Sunday, and we'll see you around.
Bye.